Welcome to my newest video. My name is LookAtTheBacon and here is my set 6 update for my Ember Sapphire list. At first I wanted to give a huge shout out to Theo Team Bureau, who brought a similar list to the EU versus NA challenge, which is amazing, I have to say. I was so happy to see him run this list and even perform well with it, so yeah. This is a total surprise for me and I'm happy to see this color combination being featured in a big tournament with such a prestige even. But first let's look at the changes that I made from last set from my set 5 list. At first I cut the 2 journal box because they felt oftentimes clunky on my hand and the uninkability hurt a little bit, and if you don't have enough characters in the discard they don't get out as often as I wanted them to, so they finally had to go. Also the Balloons got cut, which is harsh for some people, I know, because they were great in getting us over the edge, but losing some more uninks even just feels very good for the deck and feels a little bit more flexible, and therefore they had to go too. The Giulietta Madrigals didn't perform as well as I wanted them to, even if you can draw off the enemy characters. But yeah, the stats were just too lackluster, and in this quick meta in set 6, one lore just doesn't cut it anymore per turn, especially for a card that should have multi-purposes. The Anna has been cut because we oftentimes don't have enough heroes out to make her work with the 2 lore, but it is possible to put her back in, of course, because of the great stat line. And the Kida line had to go completely because I think that it wasn't needed anymore to protect our minions, and we have new protection skills from set 6 now. And now onto the big big bad voodoo, so to say. What we lost in set 6, we lost the big baddie, we lost the Mufasa. It's very unfortunate because I was a Mufasa believer for a very long time, but set 6 is so fast right now, the meta is so quick. We have so many aggro decks, or decks that were mid-range before that are now aggro heavy with the inclusion of the Lilos and the Calhouns and stuff like that. So yeah, slamming a 3/3 body on turn 5 just doesn't cut it anymore, especially not for 2 lore. If he had 4 lore, maybe like a Gantu, the new steel one, then maybe, but this card just doesn't cut it anymore. It's just too slow. There are too few board clears that trigger it, and yeah, it unfortunately had to be cut. Which is also has some upsides, of course, because then we can run more actions, but more on that later. Also, the Ragged Ralph had to go. We are not that hard on princesses anymore, and it was only a great card to be flipped by Mufasa, but just right now it is too high cost to run it and to get it out consistently. Okay, so let's go on to the general effects of the new deck. I call it the Royal Aggro list because we still have some queens and princesses in here, which I like to keep it a little bit themed. We are only running 9 Sapphire cards right now and 51 Ember cards, which seems like a lot. But yeah, these Sapphire cards are very important, as you will see later. We are down from 16 uninkables to 14 uninkables. It feels way better, way cleaner. Yeah, it's just the flexibility that we have. And we have 5 songs and 55 characters. So yeah, these songs give us so much more breathing room than before. And cool answers that we have right now that I really enjoy, which you will see later. We are running 12 1-drops, 16 2-drops, 17 3-drops, 4 4-drops, 8 5-drops. Most of these are shiftable, and of course the 3 8-drops are also shiftable. So the curve is quite low, and we are still an aggro deck. Let's get into the list. The core, of course, is to be quick, and we want to get the Daisy out, or have a backup plan with a Nala or the Queen. The Queen is good because you can get back into the game if you shift the big one onto it, the Commanding Presence one, and then get some favorable trades with your Simbas and your Donalds. And the Nala is just good because of the 4 willpower, and it quests away and it is inkable. The 4 Nalas certainly could be could have been for small Lidus that quest for 2. That is totally possible, but then we are up onto 18 unequals, so you can run a 2-2 split if you want, 2 Nalas, 2 Lilus, which is also totally fine. Then we have our 2 lines from before as well. Again, the Piglet line is the best tempo line because it lures for 3 on turn 3 when you get a 3rd character up, and the Simba line is just a protection route that we need for decks that want to contest us, that want to play Merlin Fox, or excuse me, Madame Fox and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just to protect the Daisy. We have amazing inclusions in the new set 6 Lilu, which cycles itself. We don't need it that often anymore, so I'm currently at 2, but it is not wrong to run it 3 or 4 times. But I just want to have the flexibility against screen. That's why I'm running 3 Cruella de Vil, a fashionable cruiser right now, because she's just amazing against the pesky Diablos. And she has 3 strength, so she can kill them at a cove, which is very important. We also have a 5th Simba, so to say, in set 6, the Happy-Go-Lucky Simba. If you want to get even more in, that's totally possible. You could cut one of the Cruellas. If you know your meta in your store well, or you read the tournament meta and you say, oh my gosh, Diablos aren't getting played anymore so often, because then you have more shift targets for the new Pride Protector. I was hesitant at first because it needs to be exerted for its effect to run. I thought when I initially read it that you can just slam it and then the effect is active immediately, but it's not. You have to exert it. So yeah, unshiftable is just too slow. You have to shift it, and therefore the 5th Simba as a 2 slot just is amazing. And the 4 willpower is also great because it's hard to remove, especially for steel decks, and you will get the shift line very often and then it overperforms. In the 3 slot we have the tried and tested Donald Duck as a protection route, and to give 1 more low, which is amazing, and it's inkable, it's better than Baloo. And we of course still stick to the Wendy, which is just sick with Ward and the support feature to catch other aggro decks and overtake them. This card is so important on the draw, it's crazy. Don't cut it below 3. I think 2 is wrong. It's definitely wrong. It's such an amazing card. On the 3 slot, I tested some cards actually. I tested the uninkable Moana. I tested the other Dale character. I think it's the chip where you mill yourself. But the Dale just felt the best. It enters play exerted, yes, but it has a great stat line and it lowers for 2 and it's inkable, so it's not the end of the world. And these 2 cards are just great. Unfortunately they are uninkable, but they are great additions to our deck. The Tiana and the Alice both work as protection for other cards, and they're just clunky to remove with the 4 willpower. And yeah, they both have great effects, so I'm very happy with the 2-2 split. There is a world where you could run, 3 of both, or cut them down to 1 of each if you want to go lower on at uninks. But yeah, that's your decision to be made. In the end of the day, this is all just a suggestion, of course, and we can brainstorm ideas together. This is absolutely no problem. You see here, this is my version number 6, so I have tested this deck so many times right now in set 6. It's crazy. I tested against AI, I tested on Tabletop Simulator, I tested against people on Untap, IN, live testing, stuff like that, but we had to wait for the cards to arrive, so yeah, you had to test online. For Rapunzel, standard, you need the card draw and the Chippendale is the shift for the Dale, and it's also card draw. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, you may return a character from your discard to your hand, which is just great because you can get back a Queen, get back a Simba, get back a Rapunzel, get back a Wendy, a Tiana, and Alice, whatever you need. If you need protection, get a bodyguard, stuff like that. It's so versatile, and you can shift it on turn 5. You have turn 5 a 6/6 that quest for 3, doesn't get removed by the 4 or 5 strength characters. It's just a great card, an underrated card, I would say. I haven't seen it that much yet. And onto the songs. I think songs are stronger than actions because they can't, they don't have to be hardcasted. You have the possibility to hardcast them, and other than that, you can just sing them. And Be Our Guest has been the greatest match winner here. I had Visions of the Future before in the slot, but it was just too slow to cast and then pick what I wanted. And this card is basically the same. It's also 2 costs, it's also inkable, but you only look at 4 instead of 5 cards, and can only take a character card and not a spell, or an action rather, sorry. But yeah, the fact that it's singable just makes it so much more quick and so flexible, and I really like it because you can find your shift lanes, you can find the Chippendale, you can find the Queen, find the Simba, stuff like that, which is just great and has overperformed for me, so I'm keeping it at 2. You could even say run 3 or 4. It's just an amazing card. It's an underrated card. I have some people seen it run in Steel Song, but yeah, it has fallen out of favor, but in such a kind of minion heavy deck without Mufasas, it's just great. There are 2 words: Greatest Criminal Mind works great with the Queen, where you can snipe targets that aren't snipeable before, and of course there are enough targets in and of itself that you could snipe, especially against blue decks with Tamatoa and stuff like that. Yeah, so it's just a great card. And the Let It Go, I had a 2-2 split before, but I haven't used it as much, but you can sing it with Simba, Queen or Chippendale, and it comes up more often than not in the latest testing, so I have kept it at 1, but you can certainly switch these numbers around. You could run more of these, less of these, more of the removal spells. It's just something that you want gone, you can take out. And yeah, that's basically the deck. Possible subs, other than the ones I already suggested with the Lilo and stuff like that, are for instance the Queen's Sensor Core, which isn't half bad in the deck, because we still have some princes and queens in here. Of course, the 4 big and 4 small ones of the regular queen character, which is of course a queen, makes it 8. Then you have the 2 Tianas, which makes it 10. You have the 4 Rapunzels, which makes it 14, and yeah, so 14, if I didn't miscount, should be enough to make this card useful in a sense. And also, which card which I'm very heavy looking at is the Robin Hood Unrivaled Archer from set 1, a 6 mana inkable 4/4 that quests for 2, and it says when you play this character, if an opponent has more cards in the hand than you, draw a card, which is a good effect. And the second effect is way more important even. During your turn, this character gains evasive, so it can challenge a genie. And the meta has been so flooded with the new genie, especially of course in decks that run a heavy amethyst core, and everyone and their mother seems to include 4 genies now, so answers to that genie are great. The only downside of this card is that it costs 6 and it's not shiftable, so yeah, it's very hard to get out, as normally on turn 5 or 6 we want to be in a winning position or close to winning. So yeah, I haven't found the spot and I haven't found the space what to ink, what to cut for it yet, so I don't know. Maybe in the future there will be room for it, or there will be a necessity to run it because there are too many genies. We will see. I want to conclude that set 6 in my opinion is too fresh, and there are too few cards in your hands yet. Most people haven't opened enough product yet and played enough live games and tournaments. There's just too much data missing to make a tier list or something, and to say this is 100% the best card of set 6. Every time I hear this, I say to myself, okay, maybe chill a bit, maybe wait a bit, wait for the first few tournaments, big ones to have run, maybe the Berlin tournament or the Last Chance Qualifier itself or Paris, and then we can talk. So if you want to choose your deck for set champs on the 18th of January and the following 4 weeks, maybe calm down a bit and don't get swayed by these very, very early tier lists that have been up for 2 or 3 weeks now. which are, in my opinion, mainly theory crafting, and yeah, take them with a grain of salt. So in any event, good luck and have fun with the deck, and maybe you could bring it as a surprise pick and shock Paris next week in the Last Chance Qualifiers. Take care and have fun in the comments. I'm always open up for discussion. Bye bye.